CTV News with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the latest employment data from Stats Canada, which shows London's job market defying the trend compared to other parts of the country. London's unemployment rate fell 0.7 percentage point from June to July, adding more than 2,000 jobs to the local economy. It's now at 6.5%, the same as it was this time last year. With a closer look at Canada's labor market, here's Abigail Beeman.
Noah Kelly has been applying everywhere with no luck, and the timing is urgent.
I'm getting evicted because I lost my job, my last job, and now I can't make my rent.
The unemployment rate for those 15 to 24 hit 14.6 in July. That's the highest since 2010, excluding 2 COVID years.
It's been incredibly difficult to find a job, especially as a person who doesn't have experience previously.
Overall, there were 41,000 job losses in July compared to 83,000 gains in June. Hardest hit, full-time workers, down 51,000. The Prime Minister pointed to wage growth as a good sign.
That, combined with the tax cut that we put in place, combined with the removal of the consumer carbon tax and other measures, progress on cost of living. Just to be clear, progress. We're not satisfied that that's enough. There's much more that needs to be done.
But these government workers involved in student hiring say Mark Carney's looming savings targets are already making a difference in their departments.
Hiring this summer has been difficult. You have to look at every specific detail and make sure that this student can be funded.
Less departments are interested because they have less money, they have to cut spending.
Perhaps surprisingly, with the trade war, manufacturing jobs didn't see a big hit, with RBC economists saying CUSMA has softened the blow.
Things are definitely softer. This is not an ideal environment by any sense, but perhaps it's just not as severe of a shock as, what was feared earlier in the spring.
RBC cautiously optimistic that unemployment rate will peak soon, around 7%, and also predicting no further interest rate cuts from the Bank of Canada. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Department of Commerce delivering its final decision tonight on duties for Canadian softwood lumber to a level some are calling crippling. The spike in duties, coupled with anti-dumping fees announced by the Trump administration, now put the total penalty on Canadian softwood lumber imports at just over 35%. BC's Lumber Trade Council says it will harm people on both sides of the border. Earlier this week, Prime Minister Carney announced over $1 billion in funding to help the lumber industry. Elgin County has now issued a fire ban, adding to the list of areas where open-air fires are not permitted this weekend. While the fire bans are in effect, campfires, outdoor fireplaces, bonfires, or burn barrels are not permitted to be used. Burn permits in the area have also been suspended. A city council committee will consider a pair of motions next week to protect pets and to protect people and pets from dogs that are known to be aggressive. Here's CTV's Brian Bicknell with the details.
Come here, buddy.
At this off-leash dog park, there are only good dogs. But when a dog does become aggressive, dog owner Jürgen Reichert says it's not necessarily the dog that's the problem.
There aren't any bad dogs, but bad owners. That's the problem. They should go after the owners because the dog, any dog, we used to have a Rottweiler. He was the sweetest dog in the whole neighborhood. Everybody loved him because the way we raised him.
City councilors David Ferreira and Skylar Frank are putting forward a motion that would target dangerous dogs.
My understanding is breed-specific bans are actually not that effective.
Under the proposal, city staff would come up with a bylaw to place more stringent controls on dogs that have been deemed to be dangerous.
Looking more at behaviors and with aggressive dogs. And so we want to strike a balance of trying to provide education and communication in order to be able to have dogs participate more properly in the community.
Frank says the motion follows several concerns raised by constituents and an online petition calling for the city to take action against dangerous dogs. The petition calling for measures like mandatory training or larger fines.
That would make sense to me as far as dogs with a history. We actually had an incident where one of our dogs was bitten by another dog. The owner gave us fake ID, so we could never track down the guys.
In the meantime, the two counselors are putting forward a second pet-related motion, this one dealing with pets left in hot cars. According to Councillor Frank, as of mid-July, London police had responded to 60 such incidents so far this year. She says it uses up police resources and costs local taxpayers in what's supposed to be provincial jurisdiction.
We want to, again, have a better way of addressing this, and especially if we have bylaw officers and London Police Services going to these calls, we want to be able to recoup the cost of that, and we don't have a method right now to do that.
The two motions will be considered by Council's Community and Protective Services Committee Monday.
You're a movie star now. You're a movie star.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
London police are seeking witnesses after a woman was sexually assaulted in the downtown core on Thursday afternoon. According to police, the woman was walking in the area of King and Talbot Streets when a man approached her and offered to help her recover some personal belongings that had been stolen from her. In the area of Thames and Bathurst Streets, the man pushed her to the ground and assaulted her. She then ran from him and called 911. Police described the man as Hispanic, slim, approximately 5 feet 6 inches tall. Anyone with information or surveillance footage is asked to contact police. We turn to a mystery surrounding a major police investigation at a homeless encampment in Barrie. It began more than a week ago, and today officials fenced off the entire site next to an industrial area. One man has been arrested, but police aren't saying much more about the case. CTV's Luke Simard reports.
For 9 straight days, Barrie police have had this encampment area behind me blocked off. No one in and no one out. Now, fencing put up by the city of Barrie is now in place, and it remains unclear how long the fencing will stay as Barrie police continues their investigation. Forensic officers deep inside this wooded area entering the investigation site. Late last week, Barrie police said they were conducting an investigation but were vague on what for and for how long. More than a week later, they remain silent. Former OPP Commissioner Chris Lewis says he's surprised by the lack of information from police given the scope of the investigation.
They're keeping fairly tight-lipped, which is really uncommon in this day and age when the police generally should be giving more information than less when they can. So this has to be something significant.
Here is what we know. August 1st, Barrie police began a search for this man, 52-year-old Robert Ledeseur, listing him as the primary suspect. He was arrested in Midland Saturday, August 2nd, with assistance from Southern Georgian Bay OPP. A couple of brief court appearances later, he is facing 19 charges, 17 of them weapons-related. Barrie police have decided to keep everyone in the dark, leading to frustration.
It certainly causes rumors in the community. There will be everything, all kinds of rumors from X to Y. Involved in this. But there, once again, there has to be a good reason that Barrie police aren't releasing information given the 9 days.
Given the area blocked off and the length of time, Lewis adds there's likely complex layers to this investigation.
9 days in this specific location, they must be silting through sand and dirt and screening a dig or something to that effect.
The Ministry of Environment also arrived on scene Friday, but requests for information have gone unanswered. Again, it is unclear how long Barrie police will remain here and how long the construction fence will stay put up. None of the allegations against Robert Ledeseur have been proven in court. Luke Simard, CTV News, Barrie.
Tourism officials in Sarnia Lambton are advertising a boost in visitors, but in some other centres, including London, there's been a decline. As Sean Irvin reports, the rise in visitors does not come from Sarnia's closest geographical neighbour, the United States, and that's still a cause for concern.
When it comes to hotel visitors in Sarnia Lambton, the news is positive. Bookings are up 4% year over year. That compares with a 5% decline in London and 11% in Windsor. The rise, a cause for celebration for this region's long-suffering hospitality industry.
We're not complaining. We're pretty excited about it.
The excitement is boosted by the fact that 80% of visitors to Sarnia Lambton hail from Ontario. A further 10% come from other parts of Canada.
They're surprised at how easy travel is when you cross the provinces, and it definitely makes it worthwhile for them.
By now, you've likely done the math. What's missing is American visitors. Even though the U.S. is across the river, license plates from the United States remain hard to find.
Yeah, that's true. We have seen a little bit of a decline in the American visitors. We're down about 6%.
The why comes down to multiple factors, including the aftermath of the pandemic. But the fallout of the trade and tariff war has yet to be measured.
Yeah, we haven't seen any trends based on the actual tariff or any type of trade war as far as travel goes. It's more about the communication, about the ease of border traffic.
We've always found the American tourist a challenge. Lack of knowledge of the country, lack of knowledge about the discount on the dollar, the whole passport issue. There's always been things out there that seem to have kept them from wanting to come over here in the sort of numbers that we did back when we had cross-border shopping back in the early 90s.
One place Americans have returned is at the local marina.
This year, I would say 65% of our transient boaters are U.S. boaters overall, which is about a 30% increase over last year.
Still, it will be a while before it's truly smooth sailing for tourism Sarnia-Lambton.
It's going to take time, and it's going to take time for people to be comfortable, back to their sense of comfort that they had before.
Politics aside, I think people in general are concerned economically as to what's coming.
In Sarnia, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
According to residents, something is rotten in Sarnia. The mayor has written to the Environment Ministry urging the province to do something about a strong odor in several neighborhoods. CTV's Nick Paparella has more details.
In his letter to the Ministry of the Environment, Sarnia Mayor Mike Bradley writes that urgent action is required to deal with the persistent and nauseating odors that have recently affected several areas of our city. He goes on to say these odors are not acceptable in a modern community.
People are calling us and saying they're getting sick. I've even had people in this building at City Hall saying leaving the other day, it just overwhelmed them. And it's in pockets throughout the community.
In the letter, Mayor Bradley specifically points the finger at the nearby Wessex plant, which specializes in biosolids management. However, the ministry responded to CTV News London saying that the Wessex plant is not to blame for the smell in the community because the site has not received any material since May of 2024. The on-site lagoon was cleaned out in November of 2024. The Ministry of the Environment concluded that the odors were consistent with the spreading of manure, a common agricultural practice.
Respect the fact we've got farms in the community. We have about 150 farms, and we have farms all around us. But at the same time, if they're the cause of all this, there's got to be some way of mitigating it.
Mayor Bradley says it's been an ongoing issue for several years, and he's still hoping for the sake of the residents that something can be done to clear the air.
I think it's interesting that people are still thinking it's industry, and when you say it's farm generated, they're skeptical. So I'm pleased the ministry is at least looking into the issue, and maybe across this province they may have to look at having some containment because communities have dealt with this issue before, in London, in Sarnia, and it's not fair to people. They can't be in their backyards, they can't be walking on the streets without being overwhelmed by these odors.
Nick Paparella, CTV News.
To Dresden now, where residents fighting a potential landfill are hosting another community event this weekend.
We're just going to continue to fight and show display of unity for the community.
Dresden Together wants to form a human chain from the site on Irish School Road into town. Organizers hope supporters will come out Sunday at 1 p.m. York One Environmental Waste Solutions wants to restart an old landfill for a regenerative recycling facility.
It isn't just about our community, because if this can happen here, there are a lot of other dormant landfills in the province that could end up being in the same position, that are bordering on a small community like Dresden, that could end up in the same fight that we are.
Researchers at Western University are tackling aviation-induced climate change by using existing cameras to track contrails. Rita Ismail reports.
They're called contrails, short for condensation trails, visible in the sky. And according to scientists, these thin white trails impact the environment.
Global aviation is a significant source of climate change impact, and a portion of that is actually not direct CO2 emissions, but the secondary effects that come from contrails.
This is where the flight actually is, that red dot.
In an effort to mitigate the impact of contrails, a team of researchers from Western, along with the Global Meteor Network, is working with an experienced pilot to change the flying altitude of planes by using ground-based cameras to observe aircraft.
A small percentage of flights, about 15%, would need to make little corrections just in a height that don't cost much to eliminate contrails entirely. The major problem is that there's no data to inform the models and to send the airplanes in the right direction, and we're changing that with our project.
The project is now financially backed by Google and Breakthrough Energy.
There was a need for model verification, validation, and it occurred to me that we could use the Global Meteor Network to validate the contrail models.
Contrails can induce warming of the Earth.
Vita says existing satellite systems, on average, detect contrails 30 minutes after formation, limiting their utility for actionable mitigation.
The goal is that, in the last couple of years, there was a big growth of the network with thousands of cameras around the world, and now we want to expand our capabilities. So we have the data, and we want to just do something for the world and the general public and for science with the data set that we have.
Rita Ismail, CTV News.
A section of Veterans Memorial Parkway will be closed for Monday's morning commute. The road will be closed from Oxford Street East to Huron Street for CN rail repairs. A detour will be in place with drivers redirected around Oxford Street East, Clark Road, and Huron Street. The road is expected to reopen around 3 p.m. Coming up on CTV News, a matchmaking mission on a southwestern Ontario farm, the resident donkey in search of a soulmate. Canada's main stock index closed out the trading week with a flat Friday, despite gains in base metals. The TSX was down just 3 points in New York. The Dow was up more than 200 points, and so was the NASDAQ. The Canadian dollar was virtually unchanged today on commodities. Gold is up about $37 an ounce, while oil was also relatively flat. Advanced polls are now open in an Alberta by-election that could return Pierre Poilievre to the House of Commons. Voters can cast their ballots in the riding of Battle River Crowfoot. The Conservative member there stepped aside to allow his party leader to run in the by-election set for August 18th. Poilievre is a candidate after losing his Ottawa seat in the April federal election. For the by-election, voters must fill out a blank ballot for the first time ever, as a record 214 candidates are running. The majority of the other candidates are part of a protest group calling for changes to Canada's electoral system. Members of Canada's military are getting the biggest pay raise in a generation as part of Ottawa's plan to meet its NATO commitments. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced today spending of $2 billion to boost salaries, benefits, and lump sum payments to members of the armed forces. CTV's Mike LeCouture now with more on what was announced at CFB Trenton today.
All members of the Canadian Armed Forces will receive a pay raise.
In front of a wall of soldiers at the country's largest Air Force base, the Prime Minister said it was time to recognize the worth of the Canadian Armed Forces.
These are the men and women we trust to wear the maple leaf, the Canadian flag, and to risk their lives for it. Their pay, your pay, should reflect the weight of your responsibilities.
The government will spend $2 billion to increase the salaries for the rank and file. Non-commissioned officers will see raises of between 8 and 20%. An entry-level soldier will now get an additional $700 a month and earn more than $52,000 a year. After he met with soldiers at CFB Trenton, the Prime Minister said better compensation was needed to recruit and retain soldiers to meet current global challenges, not just Russia and China, but also climate change.
The Arctic's melting. Our wildfires and floods are more frequent and devastating. And these are all threats to which the Canadian Armed Forces responds.
For the first time, soldiers will get daily bonus pay when they are deployed on domestic missions to help Canadians during natural disasters. Bonuses will also be given to officers who are deployed to serve in the Arctic and who are deployed overseas. Retention bonuses will also be offered for soldiers who take on additional training. The country's top soldier says this should allow Canada to make up a shortfall of more than 12,700 soldiers before 2030.
We have increased the target for recruits this year. We're at 7,600, which is about 1,000 more than last year. And this is how we are going to gain back to full strength.
Defense officials say this is the biggest pay raise for soldiers since 1998. It also contributes to Canada's commitment to making its 2% NATO target by the end of this fiscal year. Judy Trin, Canadian Forces Base, Trenton.
Good evening, I'm Rita Ismail. As we head into the weekend, we're under another heat warning. Our temperatures are expected to climb into the 30s with humidex values well into the 40. We did have a bit of instability earlier this evening throughout Midwestern Ontario. The rest of us clear, dry and warm, and we're going to hold on to that warmth as it builds heading into the weekend. We're expecting no rain in this forecast for the next several days. I'll break down the forecast for you coming up right after the break.
Rita Ismail joins me on the desk now. Rita, it is a hot one out there and very humid as well.
Certainly, as we head into the night, we're holding on to that heat and humidity, Lauren. And of course, that means another heat warning is in effect for London and the surrounding areas. Environment Canada issuing this, saying it starts tomorrow, but we've certainly felt the heat today. 30 degrees, our daytime high, felt close to about 38 with the humidity. Normal this time of year, 26 degrees, so we are sitting above that. The record, though, 37 degrees back in 2001. Now, again, as we head into the night, clear skies and not a lot of movement in terms of moisture in this forecast. There were some thunderstorms earlier this evening throughout Midwestern Ontario, but they since have subsided. Clear conditions, warm as we head into Saturday. There is a system we are keeping our eye on for the weekend, but it appears to fizzle out, and that means we're going to be under sunny skies, that heat just building as we move through the weekend, not really seeing much in the way of relief until Wednesday. That's right, not a lot of rain in the forecast. Your Saturday, you'll wake up right off the bat, it'll feel close to 32. 29 degrees around noon, but the real feel again hitting near 40 by the evening. Lots of sunshine. Great day to be by the lake or pool to cool off. You're certainly going to need it. Let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. So again, the next 3 days, that's that heat warning. You could see daytime highs above 30, overnight lows hovering around 20 degrees, which meets the criteria. And of course, factor in the humidity. It will get quite muggy and uncomfortable for some folks. Tuesday, late in the day, is when we'll have some storms move through, and that means it'll break that heat and humidity. Heading into Wednesday, near seasonal 27 degrees. The chance of evening rain is there, and by then, folks, we will welcome all the rain we can get. Heading into late next week, Friday, 29, and the sunshine returns. Certainly feeling like summer this week. Midwestern Ontario, similar conditions for you. The heat warning in place until late day Monday. The storms expected to move in Tuesday with that instability in the air mass, and then dropping down to more comfortable conditions. Still warm, 26 on Wednesday, 27 on Thursday, but we are going to hold on to that sunshine for next week. Lauren?
Thank you, Rita. Officials in Newfoundland and Labrador say the fines for breaking the province's fire ban are going up significantly as thousands evacuate their homes amid raging wildfires. According to the Premier, officials are still getting reports of people intentionally setting fires despite the bans. 20 firefighters from Ontario are expected to arrive in Newfoundland this weekend to help, along with water bombers from Quebec. Former astronaut Jim Lovell has died. He was the commander of the Apollo 13 moon mission. Lovell was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and became an astronaut in 1962. He was a 4-time spaceflight veteran and the first man to journey twice to the moon. Lovell also delivered this famous quote on the troubled Apollo mission.
Can say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
Lovell was played and slightly misquoted by Tom Hanks in the film version Apollo 13. He was 97. Finding love on the farm isn't easy, especially for a young miniature donkey. At 7 years old, Hank is on the hunt for a mate, and his matchmakers at the farm in Erin are using social media to document Hank's journey. CTV's Alexandra Hollick has the story.
Oh, princess!
This Prince Charming is Hank, a 7-year-old miniature donkey looking to meet the love of his life.
We're hoping that Hank can find a Jenny, a miniature Jenny similar to him in size.
The young Jack joined a farm in Erin back in June.
Hank has been a vision of mine for some time. We got our cows first, and I feel like we've always needed a donkey.
He quickly made himself at home, but now the eligible bachelor is on the market.
Hank likes long walks around the farm, through the lavender fields. Yeah, he's just looking for a companion to live out his days with here at Erin Hill Acres.
While Hank here may be single and ready to mingle, his matchmakers here at Erin Hill Acres say there are a few boxes the female donkey or Jenny must check first.
We're looking for a Jenny that is maybe anywhere between the ages of 4 to 8, 4 to 9 years old, potentially.
Princess, where are you?
The farm taking Hank's hunt to social media.
We thought that we were just putting together a funny little video to reach out to our followers and try to find Hank a wife and a love interest.
Something the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada says is possible.
Donkeys do have the ability to bond incredibly deeply with each other.
But sometimes donkeys can be a little stubborn.
A new animal stepping into their territory, sometimes they're a little apprehensive about it. Starting to share resources together, that's a sign of being comfortable and accepting of them.
The farm is accepting applications for Hank's perfect match through Instagram, Facebook, or email.
I guess in the caption or the subject line say, "Attention Hank's wife." I think that would be, or future wife, so that would work out, I think.
All in the hopes that there will soon be some new additions to the pasture. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Erin.
Well, that's it for us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.